There you go.
Forward.
Hard work. Hard work. Hard work. Hard work. Hard work. There you go.
Forward.
Hard work. Hard work. Hard work. Hard work. Hard work. There you go.
Forward.
Hard work. Hard work. Hard work.
Fall in.
What's good? What's good? Y'all know what it is. It's your favorite bets on the Nets rocking, going down. It's crazy what popped off over the course of the weekend. A whole bunch to talk about. You know what it is. It's me, your man, Trey the Commish. I got my man, the people's coach, and we're rocking with y'all. What's going on, Sick? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right, man.
It was going down, of course, over the course of the weekend. First and foremost, I want to make sure to shout out my brethren, service members that's out there. Of course, first and foremost, exquisite game. I know it was a lot of conversation going on this weekend. Of course, Army versus Navy game, crazy game. When you look at it, Army was up 2 touchdowns after a forced fumble, strip fumble, sack return for a touchdown. Navy comes back and forces to where they was just a game within a touchdown of tying it up. A squabble on the goal line, a stop, and that's all she wrote. Army Service West Point basically wins the Commanders in Chief Cup for the 5th time in 7 seasons. Shout out Black Knights. And then, of course, military basketball was on and popping this weekend, especially here in JBSA, San Antonio area, as the Joint Base San Antonio, Fort Sam Houston Rangers were able to walk away with the coveted Joe Hall Classic championship. Of course, crazy when you look at it. Of course, there was games going on. You know what? Service members are very resilient there, Snook. When you look at it from a standpoint of we had a bunch of teams. So Fort Cavazos, which is formerly known as Fort Hood, had a game. They had satellite. They play in the Military Basketball Association, so they have obligations, and we had a satellite going on to where I think 4 teams pulled up to Fort Cavazos for the weekend to play basketball. At the same time, we had the Joe Hall Classic going on just a couple 2.5, 2 hour, 3 hours up the highway here in San Antonio. So a couple of those teams that were in the Joe Hall Classic also played for the NBA and had to play games in Fort Cavazos. And they made it happen. In-state, going down, splitting teams, going on skeleton squads, and sending players, making selections, sending players to participate in both games. And I guess it went off with no hitch. I'm not sure. I didn't get a chance to see what was the outcome of the games in Fort Cavazos. I know all across the Military Basketball Association, people had games in various parts. Fort Eisenhower, I see, walked away, I think 2-0 for in their games. I didn't get a chance to see what was going on the West Coast in the Pac West division, but a lot, going over the course of the course of military basketball. Like I said, Fort Sam Houston, and actually, interesting enough, Lackland Air Force Base, basically the 2 teams, the local teams, basically are going to really probably be getting it in this year. We're in the finals, and Fort Sam Houston walked away with it. Shout out to the Army's Fort Sam Houston over the Air Force's Lackland Air Force Base. So crazy amount, but that's what you get. More, I'm very sure, to come. So what did you do this weekend? So what was your whole how to go down in the not the Pacific Northwest, in the what area? What would you call it? The
Midwest.
Midwest. Okay, Midwest. What was going on in the Midwest this weekend?
Just sports. That's what I do. Sports. Got to catch a couple of college basketball games. I saw UCLA play Saturday. Yeah. wasn't too impressed with UCLA just yet. Just yet. College football, but college basketball cranking up. Then they had the the FCS1, the college. It was like North Dakota State or somebody,
Oh, that
one of those
game, yeah, I caught the back.
quarterfinals.
Yeah, I caught the back. Was that the Indiana State versus North Dakota State?
Yeah, the quarterfinals. Yeah, that game
where supposedly someone had, but they was racial slurs were said to one of the players or something like that.
Yeah, that, and then of course called the Army Navy, the Navy come up short like that, like
and the
first of all, the comeback was great, but
yes,
to come up short like that, like real close to being something different. I just wish I wish the Navy develop a real passing game. Like for years.
Get away from it.
Yeah, they do the same thing for the most part. Then they force to throw it. But like, hey, I know tradition is tradition sometimes, but sometimes it's all right to come into the new world, so to speak. It's all right to come, to modernize your offense a little bit. But other than that, it was a pretty good game. I was impressed with both sides as far as the effort that was put forth in that game. Like neither team wanted to lose, but maybe we'll get y'all next year.
So this is where I want to start this morning. So I you know what? It's funny. Like as you get older in life, you start to pay attention to things and see things, and you start wondering, like, and you try to say things. Like I had a barber while I was in San Antonio, while I was in down in Fort Polk, over in the area of Fort Polk, Louisiana, Leesville, and my barber always used to talk about how he believes that sports are there's a certain things happen in sports. He's like, it's hard to say, in which he believes sports are rigged or can be rigged or what case like that. And I always be like, what I'm saying? I was like, nah, I don't think so. So if we backtrack a little bit, we have just had the NBA's inaugural in-season tournament that was played in Las Vegas this past weekend that pitted the Los Angeles Lakers against the Indiana Pacers, right? In which, shout out the Los Angeles Lakers, they were victorious, winning the first inaugural tournament cup. LeBron James was given the inaugural tournament MVP trophy. And now we get back to basketball. But, champ, coach, what is it? And please tell me, direct my moral compass, if you would. Is the NBA rigged in any way, form, or fashion, in your opinion?
I wouldn't say rigged, but I told you before the tournament that the Lakers was going to win the tournament. For me, it wasn't even the championship game nor the semifinal game. It was the game before that. It was the game. It was the first game that you just saw that they, like I said, I think I put up a post, and the refs are going for the Lakers as well. Like they agree that. I mean, you're gonna get that, and everybody gonna think it's rigged every now and then. But officiating sometimes make it look like sports are rigged, man. Like some of the calls, but take nothing away from the Lakers. They blew out the Pelicans, and then AD brought his game, and they really put a beating on the Pacers. The Pacers tried to keep pace.
They tried to keep pace. They really was. But I ask you this question: what do you think about AD being, can we say, shafted or snubbed for the MVP of this tournament? Do you think it was based on the game or the overall performance throughout the tournament?
It's the whole tournament. Like he didn't I think they played they ended up playing 7 games in the tournament. Like they were 6-0. They were 6-0 up until that point.
Well, yeah, you're right. You're right. 7 games total.
Yeah. So and we know who carried them through some of those games, man. I hate to say it, but like LeBron James, man, he aged well, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like dude is timeless. But AD did do his thing in the championship game.
41 points, 20 rebounds.
If you're a Laker fan, you gotta say, man, that looks promising, right? Like if he could just play, if he could just play like that. Come on, if he could play like that during the,
that's what. But that's exactly it. You're talking about if he can. We've been saying if he can play like that for these 5 years, bro. Like at this point, I'm tired of it. I'm like, I have to go back.
Okay.
I would and recanted my statement. I called AD trash ago when I was looking at it. I was like, this dude's trash. But you know what I'm saying? I gotta take in consideration he's an NBA all-star, all-pro, and I sit on my couch and you know what I'm saying and talk about him. So you know what I'm saying? I get it, I understand it. But like you just said, it continues to be the same thing though. If AD can do this, this is what we can get. We've been saying that for the longest. And here we are. You know what I'm
saying? So let me ask you this. Because I've been wondering this, and it's been sticking in my head about AD, right? Mm-hmm. About the whole situation as far as the Lakers go, period. But here's the thing. A lot of people say LeBron James is the greatest basketball mind ever. They say that he's the GOAT and all this kind of stuff. Why don't people trust the GOAT's opinion? If the GOAT say he riding with AD, then it's got to
say that
reason, right?
He's supposed to say that? How many people and criticize their players? But
the GOAT got rid of everybody else he didn't want. Like by now, if he didn't want AD, he could have been made a move away from AD.
Do you really honestly think that LeBron has orchestrated the rosters of the Lakers over?
No doubt. Come on, man, stop it. You know he has an input. I mean, whether they say he doesn't or not, he has an input on which players he wants to play with.
You think he got rid of? You think LeBron got rid of Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, Alex Caruso, D'Angelo
well, not
Russell.
Kuzma. Not Kuzma.
You don't think he got rid of Kuzma?
No, I think Kuzma was going to leave one way or another because he won a championship and that brought his stock up. So I think he was going, I think Kuzma was going to make a move. Caruso,
Brandon Ingram.
Yeah. Now that original regime, he got rid of those dudes. The original regime when he got there, when LeBron got there, he got rid of those.
Russell Randall, Brent Ingram.
Yeah. He pulled a Mike Singletary. Can't win with him. Can't play with him. Can't win with him. So yeah, he got rid of all. Now I bet he wish he would have kept at least a Brandon Ingram or like we see Lonzo Ball ain't doing that well. Which by the way, man, the Ball brothers, period, man. Those dudes, they can't stay healthy, man. They seem to be injured. Like I was looking again, I was like, LaMelo stay on the injured list too.
LaMelo's ankles,
been out a long time.
But when you look at it, LaMelo's ankles. But in state is, remember, that's what the problem Steph Curry had, and look at Steph now. So I mean, maybe it's just a growing pain which he has to endure because even Steph had bad. Ankles was quote unquote bad. Well, until finally he developed. I guess did what he had to do or found strengthening into him. And then now, he is what he is. Of course, Lonzo is a little bit different. I don't know what his outcome was going to end up being out potentially 2.5 years with knee problems.
Knee problems. I don't know if Lonzo gonna have anything left when he come back. He been out too long with the knee problems. But overall, LeBron had to do what he had to do in order to make that team competitive. Those dudes were young. Like when he got there, they was young. He ain't had time to wait to develop. I need a championship squad right now. You know what I mean? Like I need a squad right now. Like I don't have to wait.
But look at him now. You know what I'm saying? It's and when you look at it, it's funny, bro. Like the Lakers. I hate to say it, I don't know if anyone else see or peeped it. The Lakers are dominant when it comes to isolated areas to play games. Think about the bubble champions, the IST champions. We're going to see it, but I don't know. Maybe it could be what's to come. Maybe it couldn't be what's to come.
They was in the Western Conference Finals last year, so
yeah, that's why I said
here it is right here.
You're right.
It's and from my understanding, LeBron had foot problems last year. My thing is that the reason why the young players don't want to play with LeBron and all that, they want to beat him, is because this dude, if he healthy, he done proved that he at least gonna make a conference finals. Like if he's somewhat healthy, no matter who on his team, but he been doing that most of his career, right? Like taking whoever, like, come on, I'm gonna take y'all, as far as I can take y'all. Like he been doing that most of his career. You got to give him credit for that, man. Like I think he played 12 or 13 conference finals, man. Like, he been in 10 finals, but 12 or something, in 21 years, man. Like that's impressive what he been doing. Like, that's like, a couple of more championships in there. That's like Tom Brady, like in football or something, man. Like I'm gonna get you there if if you put if you want to go. So he found, like, only thing I didn't like about the Lakers that I saw was they starting lineup. Like, I don't know, like I think in the playoffs when they switch their rotation, Reeves gonna be in that starting lineup somewhere. Like he gonna have to be.
So you saying he should be, or you think he's better off the bench?
No, he should be in a starting lineup. Like,
you think so? I think he's better off the bench, man.
I don't know what Darvin Ham doing, man. You got to do something like when you get in the playoffs, which you assuming the Lakers gonna be in the playoffs somewhere, even if they have to go to the play-in route. Man, the D'Angelo Russells and those other cats, man, they not, like you're gonna need Reeves to give you more than just what he give you off the bench. You're gonna need him to come in and play. I think you should start working them into the starting lineup at some point. I mean, just from watching them play.
So at the beginning of the year, Reeves was in the starting lineup. It was I know I forgot, I can't think of his name right now. It was supposed to be in the starting lineup. But of course, I think Reeves right now, because even in the last couple of games during this time frame, he was coming off the bench, and I know he was the spark during the championship game for them off the bench as he came through. 22 points. So I think he was very aggressive. I think if you put him in the starting role, it changes the dynamic of what his mindset is coming on off the bench. And if you put him in the starting role, then he's more of, okay, I'm not in kill mode. He came in off the bench and he was attacking. So they had to set up and put even though sometimes he did get through it, but he was in attack mode for the most part. I thought initially, like, yes, Austin Reeves should be a starter. He did start at the beginning of the season. Of course, I think for the most part, to a degree, the matchups is going to dictate if he's the starter or not. But I don't think he's bad coming off the bench. I really like, because I think he's a guard, so he's only able to play one or two positions for the most part, which is point or shooting. But I'm really starting to like the emergence of Cam Reddish. We've seen Ryu Hachimura evolve last year and come in to be more. People like Gabe Vincent, Christie was playing, so I think they're starting to, quote unquote. I think what the tournament has done is it afforded the opportunity for all teams the opportunity to sit up and kind of like start to mesh and get that mesh together to where you kind of like get a look at what potentially it can be going down the stretch. Because now I'm very sure with the Lakers winning the IST, it's going to put a target on their back by everyone from fans, players, haters alike, to basically be like, oh, yeah, they wanted that championship. Let's see if they win this championship, or, you know what I'm saying? So, but I think it has really gave him opportunity to see, like LeBron said, he's like after his interview with the during the trophy presentation, he talked about right before they went to the trophy presentation, he spoke about why he put so much effort into this, basically saying that a lot of these other guys haven't been in the playoff environment, and this is the closest thing they will get to a playoff environment without being in the playoffs. So it kind of like gives him that take on it. So now they kind of know what he's like, and he believes. You know what I'm saying, the fans were deserving of it. His teammates were deserving of it. So he's like he had to give it his all. So I hope that continues to carry over.
I know the Pacers. The Pacers probably could have used the win a little bit more just for the money purposes because they got an underpaid roster for as good as they playing in the season. But I like the game plan what they did to Halliburton. Like I like the game plan against him.
Put the big bodies on him, throw people at him.
That and they kept trapping them. Like at certain points, they was trapping them a lot, making them come up, making them get a ball up. And that was a real effect. That was active for the Lakers. I think they was able to get a lead like that. But back to your point about Reeves coming off the bench. I mean, okay, but in the long run, I think they're going to have to make some changes when you got to shorten the rotations because in playoff situations, I don't see Christie touching the court. I don't, Reddish, I see him playing, but I don't see Christie. Christie made some mistakes the other night. I was like,
he did. Yeah.
I was like,
I think one of them wasn't his fault, though. One of them I don't think was his fault, but I mean, I see they was on him like it was, so I just have to take in consideration.
Maybe that backcourt, come on, man, you can't lose focus. That's about as bad as J.R. Smith a few years ago in the playoffs, in the finals. Like how you lose sight of the time. Like get a shot up. What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like what are you doing? How do you lose sight of the fact you losing? You know what I'm saying? Like. Yeah, just better decision making.
You gotta take into consideration Gabe Vincent is out, so I mean, hopefully when he comes back, that changes the dynamic as well, which is going to be which is not the best thing because now you have to basically play with him and see. I'm saying because at this point they're building a chemistry amongst the players that they have. Once Gabe Vincent comes back, he has to be implemented into the rotation. And I think it's another player. I can't think of his name. I have to look it up. He's not playing, or he's playing sparingly. So of course, when he comes, as he starts to get back into the groove, the dynamic is going to change. And so I think one thing in which we have, I don't know. Tell me how you feel about it. The with the in-season tournament, there was a slight break because they had the semifinal game and the championship game. Although they did play it where regular season, semifinal, regular season, championship. Just like the All-Star break, do you think it is a slight hindrance to the flow of the season, or do you think it was fine?
I think it was fine, and I think it's fine for the rest of the teams in the league that weren't in the tournament, that didn't make it to the semifinals or the finals. I think that all work out because you get those extra days off. Well, excuse me. You get some extra time off, and we know the NBA players love their time off. They love. And so it's like load management. What I like about it is it's sort of like load management without it affecting games. Like the schedule of the games or the play of the games. Like so, everybody pretty much on the same schedule except the teams that play. So I think that's good on the NBA. I didn't think it was going to work at first. Like I was skeptic, but it looked like it's pretty. Like that tournament. It brought some excitement to the league. More teams were playing like from the offset of the season to try to, make, to be something in the tournament. So you saw more competitive games when they could be, and I want to say this. Zion Williamson, man, is he not the biggest disappointment? I'm not going to even call him a bust.
You think he's a bust?
I'm not going to call him a bust just yet. Man, he don't even come. He ain't trying to get in shape. He ain't trying to. How many games we into the season?
20? Just a little over 20.
Like you a quarter of the way through the season. You ain't in no kind of shape. I mean, I don't think I don't think his mind there to play basketball. And I think if you the Pelicans, you got to be like, man, what could be, what we could have if this guy is dedicated. But you can't make another person dedicated, man. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. It's like Zion, man, he was supposed to take the torch. He was supposed to be one of those to take the torch from LeBron. No way a dude 38, 39.
It should be outplaying you like that.
Outplayed you terribly. You know what I'm saying? Like, wasn't even close. Yeah, man. I don't know. Like Zion, I feel bad for Brandon Ingram and McCollum because they got something to work with. For real, they got something to work with. But Zion, this is the dude, man. Like, I don't know, come prepared. Like, remember James Harden been, like that was part of James Harden problem, like not coming in out of shape and all this, man, not taking the game serious enough. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to try to judge the man's mind state, but I'm just going to say, man, we know the Grizzlies ended up winning that as far as when they got drafted. Like the Grizzlies going to be all right with Ja Morant more so than the Pelicans going to be with Zion. They have to get rid of Zion eventually. Yeah, and that's sad to see. Unless he just all of a sudden turning around, man, and get into some shape. He like Barkley, like he like Charles Barkley at the end of his career, except this is the beginning of his career. You know what I'm saying? like remember Barkley started putting on a lot of weight going towards the end of his career and stuff, wasn't in shape, missing training camps and stuff like that, man. That's what it looked like going on with Zion, but it's early in his career. Like, I don't know.
So looking at it coming up, we know, speaking of young players and those that are engaged in taking the torch or being stars, Ja Morant is scheduled to come back from his 25-game suspension. A couple of things. One, do you think him coming back is going to start to turn around the misfortunes in Memphis? And two, do you think he has, quote unquote, reformed himself and learned his lesson?
Well, I don't think he's going to help the Grizzlies this year.
Okay.
I think they dug themselves too big of a hole right now. They're going to win some games, but as far as being in the playoff picture, like, nah, because too many good teams right now, and too many surprise teams. Like, you didn't expect you expected the T-Wolves to be all right, but not as good as they playing. You expected the OKC Thunder to be all right, but they actually way better than what you expect, So it's just too many teams to try to leapfrog for them to be competitive. And they'll be decent, but they won't make it too far. It'll be a shock if they do. Plus, they missing other key players that's out with injuries and stuff. I ain't see Marcus Smart out there for them. I don't know where he at. But I didn't see certain players for the Grizzlies. But is he reformed? Man, you just gotta wait and see with that guy. Because we thought he was reformed before, and and now he got this whole suspension. But I heard the commissioner say that he was going to talk to him before he came back, so have a little chat with him. But he talked to him before, and that didn't work either. So, but with Ja Morant, hopefully he learned his lesson, man, because he good basketball and he good for the league. Like the Grizzlies was competitive when he could play. You see it without him playing, they horrible, like really horrible.
Okay, so of course, each team that won the tournament, going back into the tournament, gets $500,000, of course, with 100,000 of that going to the players on the losing team and the title in the title game, and 100,000 going to the semifinal losers, 50,000 going to the quarterfinal losers. So money as a motivator, basically. Do you agree?
Need more money? That's pretty cold.
I mean, that part. I guess. I mean, so looking at because in state, the semifinals and the finals stats and nothing counts towards the regular season or anything like that, or any of the records or anything like that. So true enough, AD got 40 and 20. All that is going to be a record as far as the IST or the in-season tournament. It goes no further than that. Yeah, they can give them anything different or whatever case like that. Basically, you can say that a whole new stat prologue has been devised, because now it's going to be the most points in the in-season tournament to date. The biggest, the first sport double the 40 plus 20 plus double in IST history, or so it was a whole bunch of records are going to be established from this, to where it's going to basically build content. But he's like you said, money is a motivator. Give people more. So that way, of course, money is a motivator. It was done in Las Vegas. So I'm very sorry Las Vegas was tapped in and made a little pretty penny this past weekend. But I asked this, right? What do you think? Of course, if no one didn't know, you're about to know now. The former executive, Tamika Tremaggio is now stepped down as the executive for the Players Association. She's been replaced by the interim, the now retired Andre Iguodala. What do you think about this move, and do you think it is actually a better move in state hindsight?
I mean, it comes as a surprise that like normally they work that stuff out like in the off season or however they do it, but it's no surprise to me that it would be Iguodala. Like if you hear him speak, man, like he on to something else as far as his life after basketball. And I didn't know, to be honest, I didn't know Iguodala was as articulate, intelligent, and what I'm saying, as sharp with that's no knock against him. You just don't really hear much about him. But I also heard him talking about his investments and stuff as far as outside of basketball and the tech world and stuff like that up in the Bay Area, hooking up with those investors in the tech spaces and stuff. And I think all that technology and that different stuff, like I think him becoming a part of the Players Association, they're going to bring some of that to the NBA, which I think with all leagues right now could do the same thing, and I wonder why they don't do it. But I hear all the talks now of maybe in the future not prolonging the game with the reviews or whatever, and having the reviews already being just somebody just say, hey, that was a bad call, or that call, or it went this way, and that way it saves a lot of time other than these referees go and look at it, like, because what are they really looking at? Like, to be honest, like that they can't be told. They already communicating with. I mean, they can just tell you that hey, that was a bad call. So I think it just slows the game down. I think they're gonna speed the game up from that perspective. I think some of the camera angles, they already getting better, but they're gonna get better camera angles when you start having like the little mini drones and all that kind of stuff, in the buildings. Yeah, I think it's gonna help advance the game, but I like that move as far as Iguodala. It's not a bad choice going that route, because I think it's gonna help the players. It's gonna help the players, and it's gonna help the league.
So I agree with you, but I think I look at it from a different standpoint. Although I pick up on what you're saying, that really does make sense. I've always thought about innovation, and so it makes sense to have someone that is who isn't primitive in the thoughts process, and can be a person that that's going to go ahead and be like, all right, I feel this, we can move forward. Like I sit up and stress that all the time, especially like being a part of a military fraternity, and always pushing like, hey, let's do this, let's move with the times. Although sometimes going with old ways isn't a bad thing, but sometimes I'll be like, okay, let's try this to move forward with the times, or let's see how we can mesh the two. But I was looking at it more of a standpoint of Andre is just removed from being a player. Got to take in consideration he's been on 4 championship teams. He's got 4 rings himself. He's played in the or been a part of games and being a part of championships multiple times. Taking consideration his accolades before when he was in Philadelphia first coming in, playing with Allen Iverson, the other AI, and going. And so the aspect or the ability to have a player himself be a part and speak for the players, do you think that is a thumbs up or a thumbs down, or do you think it could go either way?
I think that's a good thing when you have players that played the game recently. Like the input of that is way different than having sometimes people that haven't really played the game as far as on that level or at that, like in like particular situations. I think when you have players, it cleans up a lot of stuff from everything, even how the league sees some of the punishments, all the way to just the play on the court, or the officiating and stuff like that. I think having players that been through it, they can somewhat show the mindset of what some of the players are thinking. Just think. The Players Association, like they have to stand up for like take the whole Ja Morant situation, like like if the commissioner talked to some former players or or players on a committee or something, then the ruling might have been a little different, right? Like a 25 game suspension might have been, like you got to see it from all angles and not just talk to the individual, because we all know that sometimes we as the individual, we go say what we got to say to make the blow lighter, right? like so I think the outside opinions would have helped shape that whole situation. I mean, I think if you got players and stuff involved, I'm not saying that a 25 game suspension, I think it probably would have been longer. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like, yeah, I think if you got players' opinions, it probably would have been a little bit longer. Maybe a 40 game, half the season.
Half the season.
Yeah,
just before coming back after the All-Star break.
Half the season.
Got a quarter of the season, a third of the season suspension to a degree. So 25 games, which actually, like you said, impacted the team more than thought. Just like you were saying, you don't think they're going to make that huge of a turnaround. Of course, they're missing certain parts or aspects of the team already. But he is getting ready. John Morant, as we stated earlier, is supposed to talk with Commissioner Adam Silver in reference to before his reinstatement later on this month, where he can get back into it, get a couple of games under his belt, get another rest because of the All-Star game, and then now come and make a push and determine what the league or teams are going to do. In state, when you look at that, especially like the John Morant situation, we was talking about Anthony Davis earlier. When you have players that even one presumably seem that they can be a potential distraction, or they're just not playing up to the what the expectation is or was, or whatever case like that, or living up to the expectations. Are you opposed to moving them to bring in capital or to bring in something that could potentially move the needle, i.e. Anthony Davis out of Los Angeles or John Morant out of Memphis? Do you think if you were a GM, would you be open to that, or are you standing steadfast and be like, these are talents I just can't part with at this point?
You have to be open. Like, you ain't trying to win if you're not open to all angles, in my opinion. And it's I know it's a business and it's about packing the seats. Like, you get rid of John Morant out of Memphis, then you really don't have much unless you replace him with something, unless you replace him with something of equal value or more. But what's more in that Memphis market? Like John Morant is huge in the South. Like, he's huge in, it's a different thing. Like, he got a huge following as far as, trouble or not. But Anthony Davis, I think LA is the place for him. Like, where is he? Like, who are you going to get to replace him? Who can you get to replace him that is going to do? Like I said, LeBron trusts him. Like, you just gonna bring somebody else. Who you gonna bring in that LeBron trusts right away? Is gonna be some chemistry. They won a championship together. So, who else has LeBron won championship with that he's still with? I mean, think about it. You know what I'm saying? Kyrie and Kevin Love. Nope, they not. I mean, you feel what I'm saying? So who you gonna bring in? Who you gonna bring in if you're trying to win? It's about winning a championship for LA, right? LA, we all know the business is a part of it in LA, but the biggest part of the business is winning. When LA not winning, then the league suffers when LA not winning, more so than any team. So the Lakers are important. So like I said, AD, he ain't going nowhere, man. Like, unless they can work out a miracle, unless they can get like a young, like, who they gonna replace him with? Chet Holmgren? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, seriously, like, it's not too many people you can replace him with. I think that I think what people forget is he got schooled last year by Jokic. He got schooled last year by Jokic, but he schooled Jokic in the bubble. He took Jokic to school. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's probably like Jokic is who he is now. Like, for that exact reason. Like Denver was a problem in the bubble until Jamal Murray was out, and then, like you said, Jokic did get schooled, but then he's been on a tear since.
But that's my thing. So the Jokic been on a tear, and and they only won the championship last year. They only been, stop, man. Like injuries have hurt AD. You know that his injuries have hurt him. So you don't know those seasons that he was hurt, what they would have done.
So tell me this: speaking of Jokic, right? Like I said, Jokic has been on tear since they won. Since the Los Angeles Lakers dispatched them in the bubble during the bubble season during the COVID year. That's why I'm no longer calling it the bubble. During the COVID season, Jokic got dispatched by the Lakers. He's been on a tear since then, right? That year, or it was the year after that. It was even that year or the year after that. Giannis won the Defensive Player of the Year and the MVP. Jokic has been dominant since then. He won the championship last year. 2 years before that, he won the MVP. Last year, he probably should have won the MVP, and he's probably looking like an MVP. And he's looking like an MVP candidate this year. His development has been ahead of everyone for the most part. So when I say that he's been on the tear, even though he just won the championship last year, I think where we're missing, or what people remain to forget to look at, is it wasn't just Jokic, because Jokic has been that dude for a little bit. It was the fact that he ain't have his running mate. I think Jamal Murray is the reason why Denver is where they are now.
I don't know, man. Look, Jokic, they kept saying, like, when he was winning those MVPs, he kept saying, hey, you know what? I didn't understand how he was winning MVPs personally when your team, for real, when your team is like the 6th seed in the playoffs, or for real. Like, seriously, like, I'm not disrespecting Jokic. And you say his development, but it's about time his development pay off. 9 years in the league. Like you're almost a decade in the league. Normally when team, you know what I'm saying, like 7-8 years deep, like not too many come in. You know, it's been exceptions to the rules, but not too many come in like the LeBrons and the Carmelos, man. I go back to not too many came in just raw talent. We already ready. We go, I could take a team this far. Not too many have ever done that. It's like It took Jokic a while, but 9 years deep, he's supposed to be. If he's not as good as he is right now, we would be questioning it, right? like you 9 years deep. It's not like he did this overnight. It was a process to get there, right? Like, yes. Remember, he didn't start early on in his career. He was coming off the bench. He worked his way. So, yeah, the Denver Nuggets did a good job with the development of their players. But and to say Jamal Murray, I think Jokic, I tell you this. I don't think Jamal Murray can carry a team and win without Jokic, but we've seen Jokic can carry that team at least to a fifth, 6th seed in the playoffs. We've seen Jokic be able to make that a playoff team. We haven't seen it the other way around, and I don't think you will see it the other way around. I think they play good off each other for what Denver wants them to do, but I think if one was to go one way and the other way, then I'm taking Jokic. I'm thinking Jokic can still be that guy on any squad pretty much and help them, but I don't see Jamal Murray doing that.
That's a good point. I give you that. That does make sense. I just think Jamal, because they was before Jamal Murray got injured during the COVID year, there was problems. And then they were, like you said, a 5th, 6th seed. Jokic just carried them, true enough, but they weren't as dominant. As soon as Jamal Murray came back, got his legs underneath him, now we start to see the complete development. The year before, they wasn't that great. Jokic did get another MVP, come back the following year. They're champions. I think they're in wait or now, just waiting to come up. Of course, we know Minnesota is putting the screws and starting to be a little bit dominant currently. So we're gonna see. Like you said, we're gonna get into seeing what goes on over the course of the last part before the All-Star break. And then, of course, the basketball really starts after the All-Star break, and we start to see what teams or who the teams are and what they're made of, and basically go from there. So, a small slate tonight. Go ahead. While I'm looking at this,
a surprise team to me is the Orlando Magic. Everybody was thinking, everybody was thinking the Pistons was going to be that young team that did something.
Such a
Like
disappointment.
we still waiting for that. Like they disappointed ain't even a word. Like wow, really? Yeah, Detroit. I don't know what happened to y'all. Y'all, I don't know. I think they won like 2 or 3 games. They ain't even won
2
many games. But then when you look at Orlando, Suggs is playing. I was like, who the heck is this Wagner guy? I mean,
Oh, you don't know?
I'm just saying that
his
team.
brother.
I'm just saying that team. And then you got Banchero, but that team as a whole, like it's like, man, they got some young pieces that's playing. The Rockets, I like what Ime doing with the Rockets. The Rockets got a young team that could probably sneak in. Like, they might sneak into the play-in. They might be around in the playoffs. Like if you're not careful messing with the Rockets, I like what Ime is doing with them. And I also like the other young team that I like. Everybody likes Sacramento, and I think Sacramento got an upside. The Pacers, we saw what the Pacers can do. A disappointing team to me is the Knicks. Like the Knicks, they need the Knicks got young talent that's not young. Like I know Bronson and those guys are a little bit older, but I'm saying like the young talent. Like why did they get rid of Toppin? I don't even understand that. Like they should have kept Obi Toppin. For real, they should have kept him.
When you look at did they get rid of Obi Toppin or did he leave in free agency? Or is it one of the same? Like when you let a player leave in free agency, do you technically get rid of them or do you or
sometimes sometimes you do, sometimes you can't match the money, right? But I think the Knicks problem is instead of paying that young man, they paid somebody. It is like obviously you paid the wrong person because you're gonna be middle of the pack. Like I never seen a city like New York. You talk about a business. I never seen a city like New York who has like some of the worst sports ethics that you ever seen. I mean, it's not just basketball. I mean, the Knicks, the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, you see they struggles. You see, even though the Nets, hey, Bridges and what's the guy? Cam, what's his name? Cam Thomas. Thomas.
Yeah.
Man, now see those young dudes, they can play some ball and they're gonna make the Brooklyn Nets relevant as far as a playoff team. I don't know how far they can take them. I think they need another piece. But those two, but what I'm saying is that overall, the Knicks ought to get tired of being middle of the pack. Like they're not even playing for nothing significant. I mean, you basically playing just to make the playoffs and go home. You're not even playing for a championship. And that's sad that in New York City, like in all their sports, y'all not playing for championships at all. Like not coming close. Like no matter what you do, it's just not working. And the Knicks, their problem is they always pick wrong. Like I would have got rid of Julius Randle by now. I would have like. You can find a significant trade for that guy and get somebody better. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm just saying. And then they got all those draft picks, but they're not using them. Use those draft picks to bring in better players. Like trade some of those draft picks and get better players. That's because you've been outdone by these younger teams. Like the Orlando Magic gonna surpass you. Like they gonna be a tougher team in the playoffs than you. They gonna be. I mean, you know what I'm saying? When you should be up there with the Phillies. With the 76ers, the Celtics, and the Bucks, we're going to be talking about the Orlando Magic. And we're going to be talking about the Brooklyn Nets and stuff like that. We're not going to be talking about the New York Knicks. That's sad.
So and when you look at it, interestingly enough, I foresee it looking at the standings, of course. The Boston Celtics and the Minnesota Timberwolves are, of course, far none ahead of the pack for the most part by a couple of games. But in-state is just about everyone else is middle of the road or close, in which I think that's what you want in a season, or is that not what you want? Would you prefer when you look and see the teams competing? Are you looking? When you see that everyone is 15-7 or 14-9, 12-8? Is that what you want to see when you look at it? When you look at it, or are you looking for teams to be dominant or a team or two to be dominant as the season goes along?
Well, we're going to see the more dominant teams pull away as, especially after the All-Star break. You'll start to see the dominant teams. You'll start to see teams that's really playing to go somewhere. I'm disappointed in the Bucks. I thought last year the Bucks had the best record in the league. I thought that they would have this similar. I thought this year they would be similar. have another good record, especially adding Dame Lillard. I know you lost a little bit on defense, but I thought the Bucks would be better than what they are right now. But it's clearly they disagreeing with the coach right now. It's been disagreements with the coach by several players. The Bobby Portis was being the latest, like going off on the coach and stuff like that. So I don't know if they got the right coach in the mix, but all I know is if the Bucks don't pick it up, they'll be sitting at home. And I got them beating the Celtics because Giannis is that dude. But he gonna need some help, and I don't think I like what Dame can do for them, but they're not doing it on a level that you thought that they would be doing it on. Out west, injuries kind of a little bit hurt the Nuggets here and there, but I was expecting the Nuggets to be on top. But that team in a division, the T-Wolves. I'm surprised by the T-Wolves. Even T-Wolves fans probably surprised at how well they playing right now, and how good they playing pretty good.
Hella good, honestly.
I mean, I didn't expect it because that twin tower thing with Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns. I didn't expect that to work out. I think I still think in the playoff situation that's going to be a drag unless they just muscle up on teams and it can be done. They can muscle up on teams, but I like Anthony Edwards. I think Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards. That's a dude that if he was on the market and he could be moved, the Lakers or somebody should probably try to get him. The Golden State Warriors. Somebody should probably try to. That guy got championship. He got championship written all over him. I mean, to be real, Anthony Edwards. I like him. But who else? I don't know who else balling. The rest of the teams, like you said, middle of the pack. But the up and coming young players and the younger teams, though, the Kings. I think the Kings can go far this year. Another disappointment. I know you said before, it takes time, chemistry. But how's that chemistry and how's that time taking working out for the Warriors? Like it's not working.
I think they're just older, like you was about to say. Like the younger talent is actually that. I think the Warriors are probably done for the most part, in which we're going to start to see. They're going to because you take in consideration. You have other Mike Myers is no longer. Myers is no longer there as the GM who's there for a lot of their success. Now he has had the predecessor, Bob Myers, in which the predecessor, of course, I think it was Dunleavy Jr. is currently the GM there. So I mean, we're going to see. Of course, you try to replicate what you've seen in front of you all this time frame, but I mean, in state, is he going to be able to do that? When you take in consideration that you have the ending of an era potentially in Steph Curry and no different than what you have in LeBron James. 1 second, let's go check who's at this door.
But it's like, what you have is what they did to. You got to think about what they did to Jordan Poole. I think they made now overall it's going to be a bad choice. They got rid of Jordan Poole. He's not doing that well in a Wizards uniform as far as having all the pressure on him. He was a good mix for them, and I think they could have worked their differences out, but they chose Draymond, which I don't blame them because you won 4 with Draymond, but at some point, they got to get past all that, and then picking up, for me, it was picking up the Chris Paul. I didn't think that was a good move. I mean, I think you see it's not working out for Jordan Poole, like I was saying. I don't know if you heard me, but it's not working out for Jordan Poole in Wizards, so for me, they say hindsight is 20/20. They probably should have kept Jordan Poole. I think you had a better chance of winning. You had young talent, and you could have harnessed that young talent. As a matter of fact, you see everybody give Draymond credit or not credit or whatever, and they say, he's an enforcer on the team. Guess what? The enforcer on the team it's not a good look right now because it just looks like y'all can't keep pace with nobody, so you got to beat people up in order to keep pace with teams. Like for real, it's like you have no other advantage right now. I told you it's too much. It's too much on Steph Curry to try to win. Even I thought Chris Paul was supposed to make that load lighter, but it's still too much pressure for them to try to win through Steph Curry. It's like That's why Jordan Poole was important. I think it's about the mix too. They don't play. I think he might be hurt again, but they don't play Gary Payton II nearly enough, in my opinion. Um, they don't play some of their young talent enough to really let them have an impact on the game over the course of a season. They still relying on the old dudes so much. I mean, but I don't know. Like you're gonna run out of gas. And Klay Thompson, he comes and goes, but he ain't been Klay in a long time. Consistently, he ain't been Klay. And like I said, Draymond is he just beat people up now. He don't do nothing else. Like he don't do nothing else. He just beat people up. Like you gotta have. I like Mooney. I like Moody though, man. I think like that guy. Like even though he's not a great scorer, his presence. But in order for the Warriors to be something, Steve Kerr, he gonna have to actually coach. Like he ain't have to coach a lot of times. He gonna have to actually coach, man. And you see sometimes when it come down to it, like no knock against Steve Kerr. I think he's a great coach, but you see it with Popovich. When it's really time to coach, you ain't just got a whole lot of talent, like no Tim Duncan, no whatever. You got to coach. I think some of them coaches been spoiled too, man. Like you just, you don't have to do, but now you really got to coach. Which I wanted to say that about the Spurs. I'm so disappointed in them. Like Popovich, last year we know they tanked.
Or
did they? Because they sorry this year too. Like they got a losing streak going. Like I don't know. Like I don't know. They won like 3 games or something. I don't know. And you got the first overall pick. You got this guy that's phenomenal, man. Like he can put up 20 whenever. But the rest of your team, sorry, I don't know. Like Popovich, it might be time for him to sit it down, man, because that's not a good job. Like I thought the Spurs would be competitive.
So in saying that, right, and I was about to ask you one of the last couple of NBA questions. I guess this one could go too before we traverse to NFL. Popovich, who's the coaching? Chauncey Billups. These coaches and these teams where they have talent or they have top-rated talent, Scoop Henderson, Victor Wembanyama. Is that the coach's issue or fault? Do you think? You think it's really the coaches like they can't they lack the ability to lead these players to be more effective and get the best out of them, or do you think, or can it be sometimes the personnel is where you ain't? I mean, there's only so much. Water out of wine isn't always what you can do. I mean, wine out of water isn't always what you can do. So, like in these particular franchises, do you think it's the coach, or do you think it's just the lack of players that's there in state?
No, okay. So, it's 2 differences, Trey. And so, real quick, I'm gonna tell you, for San Antonio, it's Popovich because he's also the GM. He also makes those calls. Like he picks the personnel. He like the Bill Belichick of basketball. Okay. He picks the personnel. So whose fault is it that he ain't got the personnel to coach? When you the GM also. I mean, I'm just saying, like, so yeah, it lies heavily on Popovich that, like that's why I'm saying you can't get the most out of these. And not only that, but look at how, like, as a coach, look at the minutes. You got this young man, 19 years old, and you playing him 27 minutes. You ain't even playing him 30 minutes a game. What sense does that make? You're not even trying, to be honest. You're not trying to win. It's a 48-minute game, and you playing the guy not even 30 minutes. I'm not understanding you. What are you waiting on? He only going to be this young. He only going to be this young now. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, he only going to be this young now. So, let him get the feel, let him play the game, let him learn the game by playing. And that goes for his whole squad. Now, Chauncey Billups got different. He just got to coach what they give him. At the same time, I'm going to go back to, and I'm going to say that I don't think Chauncey, like, I'm glad that he got a chance to coach, but I don't think he was the guy for that Blazer job, like, to be honest. I think it was just too much to do for that team. Like the Trailblazers used to be a tough team, and they used to be a good organization for a while, and then all of a sudden they just started going the opposite way. I think they're making bad decisions up top more so than on the court, but they got talent, but it hasn't been consistent talent. You know, like Dame Lillard just left the building, and that was a big part of their problem too. Does Dame want to play? Is Dame gonna stay? You know, like you catering to the superstar. Like I think the Trailblazers let Dame Lillard hold them back from being competitive.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, you know, like they can hold you hostage. Like you saw the same thing years ago with the Cleveland Cavaliers with Kyrie, and they sent Kyrie to Boston, and then he tried to do the same thing in Boston, and they had to get rid of him in Boston. You feel what I'm saying? Like your superstars sometimes can hinder you, because as soon as he left Boston, what did they do? They was already winning, but they Eastern Conference Finals and stuff like that. So, you know, I just think, that's a part of the problem right there, is that sometimes your superstars can hold you back. No knock on Dame Lillard, but I think he was holding up that organization. Is what Aaron Rodgers was doing to the Green Bay Packers for a while. You know what I'm saying? Is he going to play? Is he not? Those types of things. Does he want to be here? Is he all in? And clearly you can see Dame wasn't always all in, whether he likes to admit it or not. And everybody will say, oh, nobody's going to cheat the game. But come on, man. You know that guy took some games off. Mm-hmm. You know he took some games off in Portland.
So of course, shout out Kia and Courtney tapping in. Thanks for partnering with us this morning. Great to have you guys with us. So Transverse, you just spoke about Green Bay Packers, who are 1 or 2 games tonight, going forth as the NFL season continues to go on. Of course, tonight you have the Miami Dolphins looking to keep pace with the Baltimore Ravens, who are currently leading in the AFC, in which they probably should have lost yesterday. But I mean, hey, a win is a win. A win is a win. And of course, then you have Green Bay that will be facing off against Green Bay, who is going to be playing. Who they play tonight? Green Bay, and I was just looking at it. Green Bay and the Giants that will face off tonight. Both Monday night games. Zach, what's going on, Zach? Glad to have information this morning, brother. What's going on? Tighten up. Courtney says, so you have Green Bay and the Giants. That's probably going to be a Green Bay dub. Titans and the Dolphins, that's going to be facing off tonight. But those are games that haven't been played yet. These games that got played yesterday, oh my goodness. Of course, there's some upsets in state. Surprise. What was the most surprising to you yesterday? I know it was a lot of it, but what surprised you the most yesterday? So we can go there.
Surprise to me yesterday was it had to be the Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco was man. Joe Flacco threw for over 300 yards against that Jacksonville Jaguars.
Joe Flacco.
I'm just saying, Joe Flacco. That was a surprise to me. Joe Flacco, like, we know Cleveland got a little bit of a defense. It wasn't defense yesterday. It was actually offense. And I can't remember the last time Cleveland put up that many points in a game, but they put up some points with Joe Flacco, and they looked pretty good. I mean, hey, he was finding Cooper, and they had 2 quarterbacks before him that seemed like they can't get Cooper the ball consistently. But Joe Flacco comes in, and he I don't know, tight window throws, all that. He was.
Him and Njoku was eating.
Yeah, him and Njoku.
Like him and Njoku was his own. Like you said yesterday, Njoku caught all his passes, 6 receptions for 91 yards, plus 2 touchdowns. No different. Amari Cooper, 7 receptions on 14 targets. He was passing the ball out 77 yards receiving. So, do you think it just comes from Flacco's experience? Or I mean, because you got to take in consideration what I did not realize is I was looking at a graphic last night in all the people that started. PJ was 1 and 2 for his starts. Dorian Thompson, 1-1 in his starts. Flacco's now 1-1 in his starts, but Deshaun Watson was 5-1 in his. I didn't realize that. And then in-state, well, it could bring it all back. Flacco is expected to be the starter for the rest of the season. 4 games left, and they're trying to see maybe turns Flacco into a 5-1 starter as well. So do you think that comes from experience or just experience, just all around experience?
It's experience. This dude is a Super Bowl champion. You know what I mean? Played in a few AFC championship games and stuff. Flacco got the experience. And I put up a post yesterday and I said, with Joe Flacco playing like that for Cleveland, the New York Jets have no excuse. You know what I'm saying? Like they have no excuse. Like they could have had this guy. They could have had Flacco on their team. He could have been anywhere. You know what I'm saying?
At one point. I think Flacco was some Jets. It was a Jet.
That's my point.
Yeah.
My point is they constantly want to bash Zach Wilson, but you had a chance to have this guy to make better decisions. Like he threw an interception yesterday, but forget that. Like all quarterbacks make mistakes here and there, but what he did was he came out and he just led the team, man. That's experience. That's straight up experience. That's get the ball to the playmakers and let the playmakers make the plays. Like that's experience.
Currently, Cleveland sits at 8-5, along with the division leading Jacksonville Jaguars. Cleveland making a play, like you said, a defense. As we always say, defense wins ball games. But Flacco was in rare form yesterday. Courtney says pass protection is key. Keeping their quarterback upright. What else can you say? Cleveland is a team. And take into consideration, they lost their all-pro running back, and they're doing it by committee. Jerome Ford, and
Kareem Hunt.
Brung Kareem Hunt back. He set up the Wildcat yesterday, got a touchdown, a 10-yard touchdown. So it's. I guess they're making it work. They're definitely putting in the work there to make it work. Now it's interesting, right? You just said bring up a particular team and a person who, for the most part, you thought was done. In my opinion, another surprising game. Who would have thought it that the New York Jets was going to demolish the Houston, the hot stepping? Who comes the hot step? But
Stroud went out with a concussion protocol, right?
Concussion protocol. They said it was a shoulder, but he did end up going out concussion protocol. Taking them hits. I seen when his head bounced, I was like, that's a concussion. And then we stayed down. I was like, yeah, that's done. But Zach Wilson, 27 for 36, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did get 4 sacks, 33 yards. He was in the zone for the most part. Is this the Zach that we've been looking for, or do you think it just happened? You know what I'm saying? Was it based off Stroud and company wasn't locked in as they have been? Or is this Zach turning it around?
What do you mean? The Texans, what do you mean? The Texans, this is what they do defensively. Like they get all quarterbacks come in and throw 300 yards against the Texans. That's why Stroud throws for 300 and so 3+ most of the time. So I'm not, I'm not surprised that Zach Wilson had a good game against the Texans defense because they've been doing this all year long. They give up a lot of yards. They just happen to most times it's close. I'm surprised at the 30-6 score, like that the Jets actually put points on the board. But I like I've been saying it a while that it's not just the Jets' problem is not just the quarterback. Like it's like what you see right there. They actually trying to catch the ball. Like, like it makes a difference when the receivers are trying to help the quarterback out sometimes. And it's not just all the quarterback. Like you start to see it more and more where receivers want the ball right in their hands a lot of times. They don't want to try real hard. That's why they throw up one hand. If they can't one-hand it, then what do? Like it's just like no dives for the balls. But so when they start putting forth effort, it makes a difference for any quarterback, for any team, any quarterback. That's what you was getting from Jordan Love earlier. in the season. Those receivers, they weren't on the same page. But now that they starting to get on the same page, you see a whole different Packer team. You can see the Jets can be competitive. They're not going to win. They're not going nowhere. But they can be competitive if everybody plays.
And of course, they currently 5-8 on the season. Potentially, they can end with a winning season if they were to pull out the last 4 on the season. The other side of the spectrum, the Houston Texans, currently 7-6. Davis Mills is most likely going to be back. Maybe they get another game out of Davis because CJ potentially in concussion protocol. Of course, got to take in consideration that in-state is, in which we're going to talk about, I'm very sure. It makes a difference when you don't have certain personnel. I understand the teams are made up of 53 rosters. Most teams, for the most part, have 6 to 8 receivers that's on the roster. Next man up when your numbers call. But let's just look at it. The Texans were without Tank Dell, and Nico Collins ended up going out. Top 2 receivers, in which they didn't have. That's what happens. I mean, that happens for the most part, and so you can't really take. I mean, you can't fault because everyone's supposed to be a professional, supposed to be the next man up. But I mean, it helps when you got your weapons in state, in which they did not in state, like you just said, 30-6. That was the score. Texans fall to 7-6. The Jets moved to 5-8. 4 more games remaining. Their opportunity to become have a winning season this year, better than any of the other seasons. Oh, well, no, see, they was all right last year. So we'll see how that ends up coming out. Now,
they were not all right last year. They won 7 games last year.
7 games. Well, they was better than the year before. I'm saying,
right.
But real quick, like you just talked about a one-handed, one-handed catches, in which I guess the ultimate of one-handed catches happened. This weekend. Well, I guess from what I look at it, my standpoint, when was it Cortland Sutton with the one-handed catch with the cornerback draped on him, end up getting the flag, but it didn't make a difference. Hands went up. Legit number. Yeah, exactly. Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if we can say that about Trevor Lawrence though, Courtney. I don't know if we can say that about Trevor Lawrence, but we're going to get to him in a second. Let's get to this quiet creeping on the come up, creeping in your back door. I'm talking about the Let's Ride. Denver Broncos is slowly but surely on their way. Would you say they're a sleeper, or is it just the right?
I got to say, I'm impressed with, I wasn't impressed with Sean Payton early on, but, man, whatever he got going on. And then after giving up 70 points,
all right.
The defense, I got to say that Vance Joseph, I think he's the defensive coordinator, Vance Joseph. Yeah. I got to say, man, what a turnaround. You know how embarrassing that is to give up 70 points and all those yards they gave up to Miami. But they defense, they took some pride and they playing better. But I'm impressed with Denver as far, I wouldn't say a sleeper. I'm saying the Denver Broncos can probably sneak in they can probably get in the playoffs with, like the Texans teetering. You look at the Colts. The Colts took a loss yesterday. Like different teams that you thought had it wrapped up. And Pittsburgh lost to New England on Thursday. Like they can't score. Pittsburgh can't put up points. So I think Denver got a good chance to make the playoffs, which is shocking because we only saw one team coming out of that division, right? I only saw the Chiefs. I didn't see anybody else coming out of that division.
That's turning around, obviously. Of course, when you look at Denver's on the come up, the Chiefs took an L. Now 1 game divides them. I was about to ask, what is going on with the Chargers? I
tried to tell you, man. It's the coach. It's the coach. It's the organization. It's the organization that don't want to get rid of the coach. I think after this season, the GM just lost his job because he refused to get rid of the coach. So I think the GM is gone. The coach is gone. I think ownership going to start over with the Chargers. You wasting Justin Herbert. Well, you wasting Justin Herbert's future. I don't even think Justin Herbert wants to play all out for you, go all out for you in games or whatever. And then he not okay. And he not a closer like everybody thought he was. Some quarterbacks are just not that. But the problem is you always want him to finish a game off at the end of the game. Y'all never up on a team or beating a team solidly throughout the game. It's always got to try to make a comeback. The coach puts you in bad positions going forward at his own 30-yard line on 4th and 5 and stuff like that. Man, you can't win like that. Like it's just dysfunction.
So just like Courtney was talking about, which he made the correlation that he was saying that Christian Kirk was out for Jacksonville, which I guess you could say makes a difference because I was thinking Calvin Ridley, but of course Kirk isn't there. That makes a difference. But I mean could that be fair and go the same thing for the Chargers? Because we know Mike Williams is out, and him and Keenan Allen was a hell of a 1-2 punch. Can we say that the lack of because you of course is always spoke about how Quentin Johnson, who was their draft pick, hasn't been effective. He's actually been worse than a lot of these players that's out here. Is that some of what we can say is like they just the coaches haven't recovered from losing Mike Williams early in the season?
No, because when have they really had Mike Williams? This dude stays hurt. Like this ain't the first season.
Yeah, they're always without one of them.
They're always without him.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? They always without. So it's not nothing new. Like that to me, that has nothing to do with it. It's defensively, you got a whole bunch of overpaid guys, except Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack is like what? Like he the sack leader this year, right? He up there leading the league in sacks.
Yeah.
But where's this Bosa guy? Where is the rest of the defense?
Yeah, he's injured. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, but when he wasn't injured, what was he doing? Like for real, you know, like where's the rest of the defense? Like you're supposed to have this high-powered defense and stuff like that. You just don't have like the Chargers. The Chargers have too much talent to be as sorry as they are. So that's why you got to look at the coach. You got to look at the GM and the coach, and somebody gonna get fired. Been the coach a long time ago, but Staley, he's just not that guy. But Herbert. You got to get somebody that understands that Herbert, you can win with Herbert. You just paid him a bunch of money. So obviously the organization think you can win with him, but he got to prove it. You got to make sure that he got the tools around him to prove it. And a part of that is their defense. I'm so disappointed in that defense. I think they the highest paid defense in the league. And I think we talked about that before, but highest paid don't mean the best, you know, like the best talent. Like they're not going all out. Hence, I don't think they like the coach.
And we were going to see, like you said, it might be a situation where they might be, it might be canned. We might see your man end up moving from offensive coordinator to his first coaching gig. I don't know. We'll come out to see. I'm very sure he'll interview for it if Staley does end up getting fired.
Hey, I'm gonna say this: putting Kellen Moore as the head coach would be the wrong move on that team.
Okay.
It's the same thing with Bieniemy in Washington for the Commanders. That's not a good look. This is why. Kellen Moore is the offensive coordinator, and Justin Herbert's numbers. He had better numbers than this last year with whoever the offensive coordinator.
True.
Yeah, it's just not. It's just not working. Same thing with Bieniemy. It's not working. I mean, Howell is playing great. Howell is a surprise, but. As far as running, but not, like you're not just responsible for the offense, you're responsible for the defense. I don't think Kellen Moore can get that defense to play any better than Staley can.
As the world continues to turn, we end up seeing what happens in Charger land. Does Staley get another season because he was under this GM, or will the brass, the owner, decide to go a different route? We'll see. So, surprisingly, the most surprising game to me yesterday was the Lions and the Bears.
I got the Bears on right now.
The Lions and the Bears was crazy.
You were surprised by that?
Yeah, I was surprised, man. I just thought the Bears was going to be the bottom of the barrel in state, in which it ended up being Carolina, which is interesting enough because now the Bears get the Carolina's picks, first round picks?
Yep.
And the Carolina Panthers ain't looking too hot. So it's a win-win for the Bears. They continue to do currently 5-8. The Lions 9-4 after the thumping yesterday. Yeah, I was surprised by it. I really was. I was thoroughly surprised.
I wasn't because they last game that they played against the Bears, the Lions had to make a storm. They had to make a good
Yeah, the
comeback to
comeback.
beat them.
Yeah, comeback. Yeah, correct.
So those divisional games, they can go either way. But I keep defending them, and I'm gonna defend them one more time and say that give Justin Fields a good coach and staff, man. Give him a good coaching staff and some weapons and a few more resources, and watch how good that young man play. I mean, you saw it yesterday against the Lions. I mean, his passing, he can pass the ball. There's never been a doubt. And then you add in the running, but I don't know if they talking to him or what, or if he just said, "Hey, you know what? I'm just gonna go and do me, and I'm gonna play my game now, and I'm not gonna keep listening to the coaches because coaches can hurt you with that stay in the pocket or whatever, do this and that. Like, but you see the difference though, right? It made DJ Moore look better yesterday.
He heard what you said about him. That's what happened. He heard what you said about it. He's like, let me show Cornelius what I can do.
I mean, they look pretty good. Like the Bears, but seriously, the Bears, they need a coach. They need another coach, and they'll be all right. That's all they really need right now is a coach and a defense. A little bit more defense. And the Lions, I'm not surprised. I told you early on. I still think. Watch out. Okay, so it might not be the Packers. The Packers might not catch them, even though they got a chance. They're only 2 games behind now, like 1 or 2 games behind now. So the Packers might not catch them, but the Vikings can catch them. Like, anybody can catch the Lions right now in that division, and it's because the Lions, they just not, man. I saw it coming. And I'm gonna sit back and wait though. They still got 4 games left, and you will see how those 4 games turn out. And 2 of them are against the Vikings. Mm-hmm. 2 of those games are against the Vikings. So
the Vikings, how the Vikings played yesterday, I don't think the threat wouldn't be the Lions. I mean, it wouldn't be the Vikings in my opinion. It would be Green Bay, who I think they have 1 more game with Green Bay. I believe, I'm not sure, or the fact if the Bears can string along 4 more wins to where they could possibly challenge it, depending on what the Lions do. But after how the Minnesota Vikings played yesterday against the Raiders in a controlled environment, I'm like
3-0.
3-0. Like Dobbs isn't the person that we thought he was. You know what? Dobbs, once he learns the system and people learn him in that system, he's ineffective. But when he comes in.
That's what I thought.
It's when he doesn't know when he doesn't know the system and can just play raw off his emotions and his abilities and his intelligence, he's golden. If he has to step and learn the system and work within the system, he's not going to be effective. And that's and so when you look at it, in my opinion, the reason he's been bounced around and has been successful to where people are like, okay, let me get a crack at him, because he goes into the organization with no knowing of what they have going on, and he's playing off raw talent and emotion, and he gets the job done.
Yeah, hey, look, I'm Dobbs. I was like, man, he's a football player or whatever, but I think that and the fame that went to his head. I was like, man, he overthinking. And the fame he started doing. He wasn't doing interviews mid-season and all that stuff. Now he on everybody's show. I just saw him on the Rich Eisen show. He been on the Pat McAfee show. He on everybody's shows now, right? Like, all that stuff can be overwhelming, and it's distracting from playing ball out there. But to get benched for Nick Mullins?
CJ Mullins?
No, it's Nick Mullins, right?
Nick Mullins, yeah, I'm thinking CJ.
Used to play for the 49ers.
Nick Mullins, yeah.
Nick Mullins finished that game yesterday for the Vikings. Terrible. But 3-0. The Raiders, like, wow. Now Pierce, I don't know. You got the Raiders playing. No way you got Devontae Adams on your team and got 0 points. No way you got Jacobs in the backfield and got 0. I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand that one.
You know what? It's time. I think it's time to bring back Jimmy G.
And what's his name? Justin Jefferson, man, he went out of the game with a chest injury. He went to the hospital. I hope he all right. I ain't hear the update on what happened after he went out of the game, but he went to the hospital with a chest injury. I do like what Maurice over here said. My man Maurice, I like that. Like the Lions are more and more like this. Yeah, I told you they would be in the long run. Trey, like we get hype early in the season, but late in the season they gonna turn back to who they really are.
Revert back to what they are.
Well, because teams want to be in the playoffs now. Like teams fighting for spots. And what I seen with the Lions is people don't like to hear this, but Jared Goff is their biggest weakness. Jared Goff is their biggest weakness. My boy McVay got rid of him for a reason. He traded Matthew Stafford for this guy for a reason. And in big situations, he got a tendency like Kirk Cousins and a couple of other ones that he just throw the ball to the other team inexplicably. Like no reason. It's unexplainable why he does. You know what I'm saying? Like he just throw it to the other team. But overall, I like Campbell and what he's trying to do for Detroit. It's just that, man, they don't have a pass rush. You take Hutchinson off that line, they can't really they don't blitz well. Mm-hmm. They don't do none of on defense. They don't do none of that stuff well. Like they don't cover well in zone coverages. Man, like they can man up, man coverage. They can man up a little bit, but as far as running schemes and coverage, they don't do any of that well, man. None of that well, and like they got to rely too much on. If they got to rely on Jared Goff, they're gonna lose every time. You got running backs, Montgomery. What's the other guy? Montgomery, Gibbs. What's his name?
Jameer Gibbs.
You got running backs. Use those a little bit more, and they'll be all right. Like that's how they gonna say their season. If they listen to me and run the ball more, they'll say their season. Keep the ball out of Jared Goff's hands.
So the Vikings, of course, Zach is going to put on for his team. The Vikings now 7-6. I know you were just saying how they maybe could challenge the Lions. I don't see it, but do you actually think that they might have a chance? The Lions might have a chance to win that division.
I think the Vikings might have a chance to win that division, and it's only because they got to play the Lions twice. Those divisional games, you saw what the Bears did. Those divisional games can go. And
Green Bay, that's their last two losses. Is the divisional teams. He lost to Green Bay on Thanksgiving and turned around and lost to Green Bay, and then lost to Chicago.
And Detroit plays us in 3 weeks. Like they play the Cowboys in 3 weeks. So I know they got us left, but they got the Vikings twice, and they got the Cowboys because they finished the season against the Vikings. So they play the Vikings, then they got the Cowboys. I don't know who else they play on their schedule, but I think that. I think the Vikings can steal that division. I think the Packers can probably steal that division, to be honest. And I just look at it like, even though the Vikings only scored 3 points yesterday in the divisional rivalry game, I think turnovers will help them put points on the board in a game like that. And why is that guy? What's his name? Janelle Hunter. I don't even know how to say his name, but Hunter, number 98, whatever. For Minnesota, why don't he don't get a lot of credit, but he really good.
So the the Lions' last few games are the Broncos next week. Like you said, the Vikings after that, the Cowboys, and then finish the season with the Broncos. With the Vikings. So they playing against a hot scorching Broncos squad. The Vikings, they might go 2-2 in the last 4 games, which should give them give them the division and finish them up. So I think for now, I think the Lions are actually pretty safe when it comes down. I can see them losing 4 games, all 4 of them games.
Oh, really? Yeah, I can see them losing all 4 of them games.
That won't be cool for Dan Campbell if that happens.
Well, it'll be cool. He's not going nowhere. He got them more competitive than they've been in years. So it's still stepping stones. It's levels to it, man. Like he got to still add pieces. The team got to grow, and then he got to start looking at another quarterback.
I wonder who that would be. Of course, another game that was surprising to me. I remember, and I continue to say it. I don't know what I was thinking when I said it. Maybe I just thought that Derek Carr and I was I was drinking the Kool-Aid, believing that Derek Carr was that. Okay, there we go. I was drinking the Kool-Aid, thinking that Derek Carr was that guy, and slowly but surely, we have it to where the Buccaneers and the Falcons are leading the division. The Buccaneers with the lead currently, and New Orleans is in third place in the division. Now they do still have a chance, of course, being that they're also 6-7. But what do you think of the NFC South?
It's just like it was last year, except instead of 4 teams competing, it's 3. Like we can rule the Panthers out, but this year it's just like it was last year. Last year, the team that won that division was 8-9. You know, the Bucs was 8-9. So look like that might still be the case. You know, you're gonna win with a losing record. I mean, it bodes well. Right now, for me, it goes well for whatever team end up in that 5 spot in the NFC. They got to play that team in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like whoever got to play one of that, you know, we got to play that divisional team in the playoffs. Boy, you got easy win in the first round for whatever team in that 5th spot. Right now, it's my team, the Cowboys. You know, but hey, same result. Like none of those teams are good. And I counted the Buccaneers out, and look, they back in it. I thought the Falcons was gonna run away with the division. They can't run away with it. I thought the Saints were gonna win early. The Saints were my early pick. I just thought they had a better defense. I thought they had better weapons on offense with the Olave, the Kamara. I thought they had, but really, who do you start blaming in New Orleans for their collapse besides Derek Carr? Who can't stay healthy. He can't even stay on the field, you know, most games in order to be effective. Who do you start blaming, you know?
Is it Dennis Allen's fault?
I'm going to say somewhat his, but also, man, yeah, I blame the coach because you got to make up your mind. At this point, I'm trying to win. At this point, why are you trying? Why is Carr going out there? Why you bring in Winston when Taysom Hill is your guy? Go all the way, go all in for once on Taysom Hill. You might win some games. I'm just saying. Like you keep bringing them in with these gadget plays. Go all in with Taysom Hill.
So what was supposed to happen, I think, because Taysom Hill didn't play yesterday because he has foot and hand issues. But he was initially on the roster and expected to. They was going to go with him to back up Jameis Winston. But when Derek Carr was designated as off the injury list, they went ahead and put Derek Carr in, set Winston as a backup, and they gave Taysom Hill that time off, so for him to give it a week of recovery. So it's I think they keep, like you said, they keep Taysom Hill around. Taysom Hill isn't that guy though. If he was that guy, they wouldn't be a Derek Carr because Taysom's been in the.
But have you seen the Saints game?
Yeah,
they win when they put this guy in the game, man. I'm just saying, if it's about winning, you might have to Tim Tebow the rest of this season. If I'm the coach, I know my job's on the line because we underperforming. I'm going all out with the best players. Taysom Hill is your best. He one of your best players, so he on the field like as much as possible. None of this keep coming in, switching, rotating quarterback. No, you on the field, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, you on the field. I can win with you. You know what I'm saying? Like we put up points with you. So, hey, he on the field for me. Whether or not he's supposed to be a starter or not, I don't care. I'm just trying to survive this season.
He's trying to survive the season.
For real, I'm trying to survive this season. We'll worry about the rest of the offseason. But right now, Carr not getting it done. Winston comes in. He look good one play. Then the next play, he throw it to the other team. I mean, I'm just saying. Taysom Hill gives you the best chance of winning. It's about winning. I win.
Well, I think the part of they looked at, they had the Panthers yesterday, and so that's why they gave Taysom Hill that time because they expected to win over the Panthers. But I mean, going forth, let me see what's their who they got going forth. In-state, the last 4 games are going to be the Giants, a possible another win. The Rams might be hard for them, and then they finished up with division rivals in the Buccaneers and the Falcons. So I guess they still have a chance because it's anyone's division in the South. The Rams might be a hard game. They might end up taking the L in that. It's in LA at that. They have the Giants at home, and then they finish with the Buccaneers, and then finish at home versus their rival in Atlanta. So depending on that, you know what? I thought for a second, Desmond Ridder was looking good yesterday. I don't see how they lost though, but Desmond didn't look bad. He was I guess when you bench a player and they come back, it becomes a difference. So maybe Minnesota will win their next game after they done bench Joshua Dobbs, and when he comes back next week, then maybe they do, because that seems to be working for everyone else. Desmond Ridder gets benched. He comes back with a hell of a game. They just couldn't hold on.
No, they lost that game with that safety, man. He cost them that safety. Ridder with that, man. Like, you got to take care of the ball better than that. And I mean, good play by the Buccaneers, but that 2 points came back to haunt them in that game.
Yeah, correct. So, and like you said, at this point, the NFC South is up for grabs. All the top 3, 6 and 7 at this point. We're probably looking at, like you said, another 9 and 7, or an 8 and 9 finish for these squads. But it has remained to be seen. Mari says, Falcons coach.
You think Arthur Smith out of there? I think he's gonna be around a minute. I think
he's gonna get. I think if as long as I think they would have to lose all their games for them to sit up and start looking up a different way. But of course, they got weapons. They got Robinson. They got Ridder. I mean, I ain't gonna say Ridder necessarily yet. They got Robinson. They got London. They got Pitts.
Mm-hmm. They got some weapons. They got Algiers. Algiers is a good running back.
Yeah, Algiers is golly. Algiers really makes the difference. Yeah. They have a nice 1-2 punch.
And their defense not bad. I didn't expect the Falcons to have as good a defense as they have this year. Like, but their defense can get some stops here and there.
Yeah, they don't have a QB. That's the point.
I mean, Ridder, they'll get that together as far as a QB. I mean, Heineke wasn't the dude. I thought Heineke would have been. I thought once he came in, Ridder wouldn't have got the job back.
I thought he was going to get it back too, but Heineke didn't. I don't know if Heineke just rescinded. Like, I thought.
Yeah.
What he was doing in Washington, I thought, oh yeah, he's gonna go in Atlanta. He's just a matter of time, unless he gets another. If he gets another shot, then maybe Ridder won't get it back. But I mean, he messed up on this shot. What other games we had yesterday? We talked about that. Talk about that. I spoke on that. Let's speak on this. Do you think Puka Nacua is the offensive rookie of the year this year?
I thought it was CJ Stroud. I was heavily on. I'm on CJ Stroud for being the rookie of the year. His numbers are just crazy, like crazy good. And since Cooper Kupp has come back, Puka Nacua took a back seat. He took a back seat.
True that. I would say that to a degree, but Puka is about to be a rookie 1,000-yard receiver. Who was a 5th-round selection.
Yeah, but do you not see what Stroud is doing? And then Stroud ain't throwing a lot of interceptions neither. Like, I think Stroud, I just think Stroud is, and then Stroud's impact on his team is way more significant. They was almost a playoff team up until yesterday. You know what I mean? Like, you were thinking that they was favorites and they was gonna beat the Jets. I mean, but that didn't happen. But they still got a shot. Like the Texans got a shot to make the playoffs with a rookie quarterback. Just let that sink in with you know what I mean? Like a rookie, they got a chance. And like I said, Stroud, his numbers as far as touchdowns to interceptions, and then he throwing. When you ever seen a rookie quarterback do what he's doing? Like, he got the most passes for over 20+ yards in the season. Like, with all these other quarters, and you in a season where you got Josh Allen, Mahomes, you got quarterbacks in the league, but he tops. Like I think he better. I think Puka Nacua will come in a close second. He gonna get some votes, but he'll be second.
So, like you said, CJ Stroud currently 3,631 yards receiving. I mean, passing, 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So he's averaging 279 yards a game, 62% completion rate, current rating, QB rating 98.7. That's not bad. I mean, 391 yards rushing on the year. That's not bad for a rookie, but I just when I look at Nacua, 1,113 yards receiving for a team that's been juggling doing juggling quarterbacks. What he has, how many touchdowns he got on the year? Oh, that's where it goes wrong at. Oh no, that's rushing. I'm sorry. I was about to say I know he yeah, see that's where it comes off at. Like you said, Cooper Kupp is eating up his balls. Atwell is eating up his balls. Higbee, yeah, he's getting lost in the sauce, but yeah, he's a 1,000-yard receiver.
It's Matthew Stafford. Like when Stafford's healthy and when Kupp, he only looking at Kupp. Like so, it takes away. But I like what Puka been doing for the season. No disrespect, but it's just like Stroud.
I think they're front runners. I mean, it was after
Stroud just having a better season.
Yeah, it was after. I think it was after Richardson's award to lose. He got lost early. Nacua was already taking off and burning. And then he got overlapped by Richardson. Then now CJ Stroud. But I think if Stroud's going to miss maybe 1 or 2 games, I think that gives Nacua an opportunity to get in there. And I in-state, I think Nacua is going to probably be. It's unfortunate that Kupp came back because now, even Robinson was eating up up yesterday. So it's just unfortunate they have other weapons in Los Angeles. But I also think that's going to be a benefit to Nacua, the fact that he's where he is right now statistically when you look at it, based on there's other weapons. Kyron Williams is back. Kyron Williams is 4 games, and all he needs is 200 yards to be a 1,000-yard rusher. We're gonna see how it ends up coming out. But I'm rocking with Nacua for that. We'll see though. But I mean, like Powell said, like yourself said, it might end up being CJ in-state. A couple more games, of course. Going back to the Ravens game, what do you think of Lamar Jackson since he got his money? We know some players play a different way after they get the bag. Do you think Lamar is still elevating, or do you think he's at a ceiling already?
Lamar is saving the best for last. Like right now, it's the regular season. Let's get through this regular season. Then you're gonna see. I think you're gonna see the full arsenal all at once in the playoffs, where they're gonna need it the most. All the talk's been about he can't win playoff games, so I think he's gonna come out to show you that he can win playoff games. I think right now, getting through the season, he figuring out the receivers. You see, he hitting them on the money now. As far as Odell Beckham coming on, I mean, Lamar gonna be fine as long as he's healthy. I think his whole point is to be healthy and make it to the playoffs. Like the last couple of seasons, they've been a decent team starting out, and then he get hurt and they fall off. So I think he's just trying to stay healthy and survive the season. If I'm him, that's the mindset. Like, and then I'll show you why they paid me all the money when we get in the playoffs.
Of course. 3 games, the big 3 games, I guess you could say, last night after Baltimore was able to walk away with the dub. The big 3 games, which you could say, of course, the San Francisco versus Seattle wasn't that huge of a game. Outside, it was a divisional rivalry. Then you had, of course, the Bills and the Chiefs, and then last but not least, the Eagles and the Cowboys. Out of all those games, when you look at it, the closest game was, in my opinion, was the 49ers in Seattle. I thought, of course, Christian McCaffrey came out from scrimmage, 70-yard plus rush. Mason finishes off. So I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be easy work for the 49ers. Found ourselves in a dogfight. Debo wasn't clamped like he was the last game, but it did start to show a chink in the armor, and then finally San Francisco got into business. Do you think this game was ever in the question?
No, because Seattle falling off. And Geno can't. I'm gonna say it again. Geno can't handle pressure, man. I mean, for a veteran quarterback like him that should be used to the NFL pressure, guys getting close I mean, he starts panicking. Like, I didn't notice that last year neither. Like until the playoff game, until the wild card round, and I was like, man, this guy is wow. You know what I'm saying? I was like, he's scared of the pressure. That's Seattle's problem right now is that they don't have a quarterback that wants to stand in there and deliver the ball and take a hit. But your team pretty good this year. The 49ers, in case you haven't noticed, they looking pretty good.
They are, in which you, like you said, but so I think one of the things that was a detriment to the 49ers yesterday is that they didn't get Geno, the panicky Geno. They got Drew Lock, who they haven't seen in 2 years. So it was a just like the Josh Dobbs effect. It was a hint of mysterium in which they wasn't going to get a chance to see who he was or what he was about. And then he almost caught him on the chin. He was working his jelly, and then it happened. San Francisco was able to turn it up a little bit. The defense, of course, Debo doing what he does again. So when I take in consideration, in which I want to say this about the Eagles as well, that San Francisco, well, two parts, not this part about the Eagles, but the latter part about the Eagles. San Francisco's without Debo and the Christian McCaffrey was a little hobbled. San Francisco was out Debo for a couple of games, in which they end up losing 3 games earlier in the season. Had we had Debo the whole time, would it have been a different outcome? I don't know. What we did, except and face those teams, we faced teams that we were supposed to beat without players that we thought we should have had, and lost 3 games in a row against Cincinnati when Joe Burrow was there. We lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cleveland Browns, unfortunately, and also lost to the Minnesota Vikings without Justin Jefferson. And so things like that happen. So when I look at what's going on now with the Philadelphia Eagles, in which we're going to get to them in a second, they lost to top tier teams in the conference. So it happens. That happens sometimes. Let's not forget Geno didn't do anything almost 9 years. So last year he was a career year versus a season where he looks more like the old Geno. A lot of old Lions, old Geno references.
Yeah, it's a throwback. So look, real quick on the 49ers. Man, I don't know. Like, I still think y'all gonna fall short somewhere in the playoffs. I'm counting on it. But really and truly, the Christian McCaffrey, like the Panthers, all I can say is this: he plays with those injuries now. Some of the injuries that kept him out in Carolina, winning must make a full difference. I'm just saying, like he ain't been this reliable his career since he. I'm serious. Like Christian McCaffrey is. Wow. Think about that. Like he always found reasons to miss the Panthers games. Like he ain't trying to miss no games with the 49ers. I think he liking this. I think him and Debo, they hard to stop, man. Debo got the heart of 10 men. He's not the fastest, but he's strong. And yeah, I don't know, but I still think y'all gonna fall short.
Christian McCaffrey MVP.
I think everybody keeps saying Brock Purdy, but I think Christian McCaffrey should be the MVP. He got that streak of touchdowns going, man. This, he scored pretty much every game. Like
he's a problem.
And he catch the ball, and he run the ball and he catch the ball. So, I think Christian McCaffrey should be MVP.
If he don't get MVP, you think he's a sure win for offensive player?
Yeah, offensive. What is that called? The offensive player of the year or something?
You should walk away with one or the other. Insane.
Right.
Let's go into these Chiefs, right? In which I have so many questions when it comes down to the Chiefs, especially conversation about what transpired at the end of the game. First and foremost, did you think the Chiefs was going to lose to the Bills?
I picked the Chiefs to win, but I said I wasn't surprised if they lost because the Bills are playing for playoffs. Like every game is a playoff game for the Bills from here on out. Like they trying to make it. Like the Bills are in must-win situations, and when you the Chiefs, you don't have that kind of pressure on you because you feel like you're gonna win your division. You know, you're gonna be 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the playoffs automatically. So you're not even on the same level as the Bills right now.
Mm. So currently the Chiefs, or as I sit up and look at it, have a game against the Patriots, the Raiders, the Bengals, and the Chargers. All potentially winnable games to where they can end up finishing the season at 12-5. But that 12-5 finish may not be enough to get them a 1 or 2 seed, depending on what the other teams do. That being Baltimore and Miami. Of course, we know Miami has a game tonight. Going back, right? Why do you think players feel entitled that calls shouldn't be made, i.e., the frequency and the rambling that Coach Reed and Coach Reed should be ashamed of himself. He should have wrangled in Patrick Mahomes and let him know, like, fam, stop playing. That's a rule. I don't give a damn how many times you call it. It's
Patrick
a rule.
Mahomes. Now you see how spoiled Patrick Mahomes is because he didn't say that the week before when he got that when they called that unnecessary roughness penalty when he was still in bounds and the dude hit him and they called that he wasn't saying that then. So to be that mad about, but we know the truth. We know the truth. He was not really mad at the officials. He was really mad at Kadarius Toney, but I can't go off on my teammate. I can't go. Do you feel what I'm Trey? I can't go off on my teammate like that. I gotta go off. Hey, you know what I'm I mean, when it sounds so ridiculous that it's funny, is he can't say that to Tony. They still need him. He can't go at his teammate like that. So I'm gonna go at the official. Like, even though Kadarius Toney, what are you doing, man? Like these. That's not the first time he's done that. Like,
play for the ages,
right? It was a great play.
Shout out Travis Kelce with the wherewithal and mental mindset to know, hey, he's wide open. They're drawn into me. My auto, he said, my auto, perfect play. And, I mean, but it's unfortunate. It is exactly what happened. Was supposed to happen. He was offsides. I know when I officiated this year and I officiated middle school kids, I stayed calling, telling, hey, number 3, back up. Number 2, back up. And then I got to the point, I was like, you know what? I'm not doing it anymore. If you don't,
that's what Andy Reid was talking about. That hey, you normally get a warning, but my problem was watch the film. Tony never turned to even say. Normally they turn and they say, "Am I good or not?" He never turned to say, "Am I good or what?" You know what I mean? Like it was squarely on Tony. Like I said, and if Mahomes could have went off on Tony, he would have went off on Tony. But hey, the officials are the next best thing. Like you gotta vent that. Like, what are you gonna say? My teammate's a bonehead. Like my teammate, you know what I'm saying? My teammate's a jerk. He cost us the game. Like he can't say that, right? He gotta say it was the officials. Just saying.
Tony with the drop passes. Tony with the it's unfortunate. But like you said, it's definitely a spoiled, a privileged and spoiled quarterback because he was really going in. It felt like that should not have been a call. That's like saying that you can't call a foul on somebody at a certain point in the game because that's who it is. No, you have to. It's unfortunate because technically no one knew that you was going to complete that pass. No one knew that Travis Kelce was going to be able to get the ball, to ladder the ball to Tony for a touchdown. None of that was known. The flag was thrown when it should have been thrown, and that was it. And so I didn't see any problem with it. It was just unfortunate. It was a bang play on Travis Kelce.
But I ain't really just heard of all that much offensive players getting offside penalties. At first, I was like, man, did they point the wrong direction? Because he said offsides on the Kansas City Chiefs. normally they say illegal procedure. They say, you know what I'm saying? What is it? Not illegal procedure, illegal formation, and all this other stuff. But they said he was in the neutral zone, and it's like, yeah, he was clearly past the ball. But normally you supposed to, like, normally you supposed to talk to the ref over there, though, the side judge or whatever. You're supposed to talk to him and say, hey. So that was, like I say, Mahomes, he had to go off on the ref because he couldn't go off on his teammates. You know, you can't go off on your teammate. You just can't do it. You'll get a label as a TO if you went off on your teammate. You know what I mean? Like, for real, you'll get bad labels in your locker room if you go off on it. So going off on the official was the next best thing. And Andy Reid standing up for, like, basically standing up for his player. Like, they don't want to throw, because you got to think so also too what the media was going to do. The media was going to say Tony made a mistake, right? So they try to get in front of it and say it's the official's fault. So Tony don't take the heat. They need Tony the next 4. They need Tony the next 4 games plus in the playoffs. They need this guy. Let's just face it. They need him. So they trying to, it's called deflecting, trying to take the bullet. You know what I'm saying? Now, because now we ain't even talking about how ridiculous a professional player getting himself in that position, getting a call in that position, Trey. We talking about what Mahomes said. I mean, you feel what I'm saying? Like, that was the whole point of it. That's the whole point. The whole point of the exercise is, hey, our teammate's an idiot, and I can't call him that. You know what I'm saying? I can't say that.
Do you think Kansas City can win if they have to go on the road through the playoffs?
Oh, yeah. They got Patrick Mahomes. I think they can win. Yes, they need him. This is why they need him. They ain't got nobody else. None of their receivers catching. Like, they need him because they'll have nobody. And he kind of fast when he get the ball in his hands. Like, he can do some things with the ball in his hands. So you need him. Just like they need all their receivers, because I think all it takes is one of them to make a good catch here and there in the game. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they running backs do have better hands. I said that, but Pacheco didn't play last night. And I thought, well, Pacheco went out the gate early or whatever. And I thought that, man, maybe they should start looking at throwing the ball to Pacheco a little bit more, playing McKinnon a little bit more. Like, hey, you got to get the ball into some playmakers' hands because these receivers ain't cutting it. Like, they just ain't cutting it. They ain't getting it done.
So, here we go. That was the cadence we heard over and over and over last night.
Here we go. Oh, yeah.
What do you think about last night's game? The Philadelphia Eagles, the Dallas Cowboys. I talked to Bishop briefly this morning. I even talked to him over the weekend because we was checking out some of the Joe Hall Classic games, in which he led on to that he kind of like seen the losses coming. Well, he said he'd seen the loss coming with San Francisco. He was hopeful that the Cowboys was going to meet the same demise that that the 49ers the Eagles met the week prior, which it didn't come out being played. It didn't play out that way. You're a Cowboys fan. Removing the bias, did you really see a clinic coming on, or even just a win? Let's just to be honest, a win.
Yeah, I saw a win coming. But I'm just like every other Cowboy fan. You could see the win coming, but you're just hoping that we don't. I was just hoping we didn't blow it. Like, you know what I mean? I was hoping we came out. I also hoping we came out aggressive, and I was actually so shocked that we came out aggressive. And I'm talking defensively. I wasn't worried about offense because the offense always gonna get going here or there. But defensively, we came out aggressive, and that was the most shocking thing to me, is that we came out ready to play, despite the penalties early. We were still able to keep them out of the end zone early, and it's, for me, that was it. Like, make them kick field goals. I was saying that the week before. Remember the last time I was on your show? Hey, we got to hold teams to kicking field goals instead of letting them score touchdowns. And we came out and we actually, I don't know, the defense. Gilmore was impressive. Like, Gilmore was impressive. I was impressed with him on AJ Brown. He did a heck of a job on AJ Brown. I like that. You know what I mean?
He did like that AJ Brown. He did keep him in clamped down.
I like that, and I liked you know, I know Michael Parsons got a sack last night, but I'm never that impressed with Michael Parsons that much in games. I mean, as a Cowboy fan, I'm more impressed with D. Lawrence on that D line. Like DeMarcus, what's his name? Yeah, D. Lawrence. He taking advantage of the fact that he got Michael Parsons on the other side or whatever. Like he's definitely taking advantage. I like him. I can't even say his name. The Omi Wahoo. I can't. Whatever.
I know what you're talking about.
But he a good run stopper. Like I just like what I seen last night. And if you the Eagles, everybody saw this coming. Well, you just didn't know when they was gonna lose some games, but you knew it was coming because they've been winning ugly all season. So if you're an Eagles fan, you ain't gotta be mad because you can still win ugly games and they still go, they're gonna be in the playoffs.
It said Hurts is struggling recognizing coverages and minus that run game for him using his legs. That offense has been up and down, of course, yes, and that's the end state where they're saying the offense, and I think that's why you kind of like seeing what was getting ready to happen. The fact that they're up, the offense has been up and down, and what they're facing now, they're facing teams like the games that they should have lost and stuff like that. Taking consideration who they should have lost to, when they should have lost. Of course, taking consideration, I know Snook thinks differently, but taking consideration that that the Cowboys lost by a foot for the most part. Their first meeting in Philly. Now they're in Dallas. Like you said, Dallas came out with throwing haymakers, punching in the mouth, and doing what they needed to do. It was only a matter of time, of course, in which now they're in the position to where Dallas is currently the front runner, currently looking at the possibility of finishing the year, continuing the tradition of no team winning the division back to back, and putting themselves potentially in position to try to be the first team to do it in X amount of years since win a back-to-back division title. But this is just preseason. What do you think this does for the Cowboys going in? Y'all still have who y'all still have?
We got the Dolphins, Bills. We got the Bills, Dolphins, Lions, and I think we finished the season against the Commanders.
That could be rough. That could be a rough slate. That could be a rough slate.
Our next four, but here's my thing.
Uh-huh.
When it's all said and done, we're going to be to play the same teams that the Eagles played. We've pretty much played the same schedule, because we're in the same division, right?
Yeah.
So I never liked the idea that they call them tomato cans when we play them, but the Eagles playing the same squads. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much. I mean, the only thing is they've already played Buffalo and Miami. We just got to play them, right? But I'm saying for the most part, we played the same schedule, but one team is tomato cans. The other team is like, oh, they're a great team. Oh, they good. I mean, and plus, how many teams make it? Like, how many teams lose the Super Bowl? How many Super Bowl losers make it back? Like, the Chiefs did. The Chiefs went right back. But how many Super Bowl teams that when you lose go right back? I mean, like normally the team that loses, like in the 90s, you had the Buffalo Bills went to 4 in a row, right? Like the Patriots lost one, I think, and went back. But it's certain exceptions, but not normally when you lose a Super Bowl, you don't go right back because you lost your offensive coordinator, you lost your defensive coordinator, you lost them, and it's starting to catch up with them. But I still think the Eagles gonna be a tough team. If we the Cowboys, we take that victory. I'm proud of my team. When Dak made that fumble, I thought it was over. By the way, I thought the Eagles was gonna make a comeback when Dak fumbled and they scored that touchdown. So that's why I was impressed with the defense. That the defense, when the offense came back and scored right away, got a field goal or whatever right away, but then the defense shut them out. Like, as a matter of fact, Philly's offense only scored 6 points yesterday.
They did.
Only 6 points. I mean, so that's what I'm more impressed with from the Cowboys. But my question for you, Trey, is do you really think that this one is going to change anything as far as the Cowboys long term? I mean, we still going to have to either face the Eagles or the 49ers at some point in the playoffs if we want to,
So I think going back, so what would be beneficial to y'all, of course, is if y'all are able to hold the line, which is going to be rough for y'all, especially when you take in consideration the Eagles play the Giants twice, they play the Cardinals, and they play the Seahawks, in which the Seahawks may be the only team that could probably give them a fit. But for the most part, unless there's because of a division rivalry, I don't think DeVito is going to be that victorious. I don't know. Kyler Murray might cause a problem for him if they sit up to sleep on him. But besides that, potentially the Eagles will win out for the next 4 games. We just talked about y'all schedule. Y'all got 4 potential losses on y'all hand. So when you look at it, but I would say, but going to back to your question, I think if y'all was to get the Eagles again at home, I mean, if y'all was to sit up and be able to continue to hold the line and defeat these teams and win out, if y'all win out, then y'all get home field advantage, which puts y'all in line to, if y'all get ready to play the Eagles, is going to put y'all back in Jerry's world. I think y'all good. I mean, y'all hold the record for the most consecutive home win streak right now. So as long as you stay home, y'all good for the most part. Or you know what I'm saying? Even if y'all was to break, y'all streak was to get broken, it's still at home and it's in a playoff environment. Y'all, I get the whole y'all can't make it out the first round. I think this is a year y'all make it out the first round, regardless of who y'all playing. If y'all don't make out, if y'all, let's say, run up against the Saints, I think the Saints are one of those teams that I know we was talking about it earlier. I think the Saints are one of those teams that can be surprising no matter who they play against, because you think we about to run through them, and then you don't run through them, and then they're on to the next round, and you're sitting at home. So, but in-state is, I think if y'all can win out and y'all are the NFC East division champions, I think y'all have a pretty good chance if y'all got it running back against the Eagles. As far as if y'all got to play San Fran, I'm not sure. It depends on who we got, or whatever case like that. We know at this point, if y'all win out and San Francisco's able to win out, then you're playing in Levi's and Strauss. You're going back to Strauss. If y'all went out and we slip up, we got to come to Jerry's world. So you know what I'm saying, which I might have to try to make a trip down to Dallas to Arlington for that. You know, and see what that environment be like. So it's going to be interesting. I'm ready for it, up for it. But I think y'all had a chance. I think this is going to be one of those years. I would hate for y'all I would hate for San Francisco to lose to y'all if it came down to that, or lose to anyone for that most part. But I think it's the NFC is looking pretty strong. 3 teams at the top right now at 3 with 10-3 records. But Donovan say, even with Dallas, still not a threat. Ain't nobody drinking that Kool-Aid but the Dallas fans. I know Donovan's a little upset because Pittsburgh is down in the dumps right now.
But I'm just gonna put this out there. I think we got something to prove, and I like what I saw. And this is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping we see y'all again in the playoffs for real. Like, I'm hoping we see y'all again because, like I said, I already feel like y'all gonna fall short. I feel like the 49ers gonna fall short. So us being the ones to do it would be perfect because, yeah, that'll be perfect. I look forward to it, and plus, that's bringing back I mean, whether people like it or not, those old rivalries, man, they mean a lot to the game. Like it's tradition to see the Cowboys and the 49ers in a playoff situation. So I look forward to it as far as a Cowboy fan. I'm not gonna get ahead of myself and say we're a Super Bowl bound team because we still got work to do. But beating the Eagles, just for me, it just for regular season purposes, it takes a little bit off of us. It drops a load off our shoulders. Now we can, because all I've been hearing, like I said, is we ain't beating nobody. We playing, you know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't beating 500 teams, even though the Eagles play the same schedule that we play. I don't understand it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I saw what the 49ers did to the Eagles, and I saw what they did to us earlier in the season. But as I stated again, this is the regular season. Playoff season, we're going to see it's going to, like we're going to let the players decide that when it's the playoffs. I mean, like, hey, you don't think we're going to be prepared? Like, no team seemed to be prepared, Trey, for this is what made me mad. No team seemed to be prepared for Debo end around. They run that play every game, Debo in the game, and nobody seemed like it seemed to catch every team off guard. It's like, hey, they gonna at least run one or two end arounds to jet sweeps to Debo. Like, hey, we ready. Like, trust me, we're gonna be ready for it. You know what I'm saying? When it comes down to it. And like I said,
so I think you know what? I think people I'm very sure is in everyone's game plan to watch it, but I guess when you look at it, the dynamic of it is so many different things you can do. Once he sends them in motion, you're always looking like, is this the end around? You always look, is this the end around? So you can't. There's only so much you can do, because if you go with Debo thinking it's the end around and watching Debo, now you have Christian McCaffrey off tackle. You have, depending on where Ayuk is lined up at, you have Ayuk running rampant. You have potentially Juwan Jennings that could be open. He's a threat. Or you have Kittle that's now in the middle of the field, and you sit up and fake the handoff. Everyone shifts with that. The whole defense has shifted going after him split second, and now you have Kittle that's in the middle of the field. So I just think it's a matter of not that everyone I'm very sure is prepared for it. I'm very sure they're gonna continue to look and see it, because he scored off it yesterday. But I mean, that was on the goal line. Christian McCaffrey on one of them. He faked the handoff to McCaffrey, gave it to Debo going underneath, and then, you know what I'm saying? So I think it just comes down to the weapon aspect of it. They're weapons, because I don't think you're going to see that too much, even if it wasn't Debo and it was a Juwan Jennings that was running it. It doesn't look the same, but it's a nice 1-2 punch.
And the last thing I want to say is, think about this. I get so tired of hearing the talk about who's this. Like, they say, oh, Trent Williams is the best offensive tackle in the game and all this different stuff. Okay, he may very well be the best offensive tackle in the game. But I don't like that the refs. This dude holds on 75% of his plays, but he never get a call. Like, yo, what offensive lineman never get a penalty, a holding penalty, or whatever? Like, yo, he don't get holding penalties called against him. And we know all offensive linemen hold. Like, this dude, like, just because he has that reputation as being the best offensive lineman, he don't get no penalties. I think that's gonna change in the playoffs. I think there's gonna be, I think they're gonna make it a point. If I'm McCarthy, I'm actually putting Michael Parsons on that side to get those, you know what I'm saying? Like, because they're gonna call it eventually at a meaningful point. Because as I've seen the 49ers, I'm like, this dude don't get penalties. Like, who does that? What offensive lineman doesn't get penalties? Like, yo, I know he good, but no offensive lineman is that good. Not one is that good.
He just might be.
Come on, man.
Come on,
man. Come on, man. I know he's a Hall of Famer, but I'm saying, come on, man. Like, stop it. You hold sometimes, Trent. Like, nobody's that good. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I don't know. I'm anxious to see that game, to see something like that in the playoffs, but I don't want to get ahead as far as like we still got work to do in the season. Y'all still got work to do, but y'all got to eat. Like, the Eagles got an easy schedule. Y'all schedule not that hard. So
no, it's not. It's the Eagles have the easiest of the schedules, of course. Like I said, with 2 games versus the Giants, 1 versus the Cardinals, and then of course next week on next Monday night against the Seahawks. San Francisco's left with a next week we got the Cardinals, then we got the Ravens after that, and then we finish with the Commanders and the Rams, which is 2 of those games could be a potential loss in state. So I mean, it's not that.
Well, maybe the Ravens. I see 1 loss on that schedule. Maybe the Ravens. I can see y'all losing to the Ravens, but I can't see y'all losing to nobody else. I mean,
and then
the Commanders, y'all ain't losing that game.
And then, so it depends. So we'll definitely see what's up, and I would be open to definitely 49ers. Seeing the 49ers play against the Cowboys, and even in Dallas, I'll be willing to go see. Like I said, to go see if I can pull up in Arlington to see that game. So,
but we coming though, man. We getting our stuff together. Like it's a process with us. We getting our stuff together. And and before we get out of here, I just want to say this right here. Why is it, why I can't root for my team like everybody else root for their team? Why we got to be delusional? Like all season long, everybody been saying that, the 49ers probably going to make it to the Super Bowl. Then they say, the Eagles look like they're going to make it back to the Super Bowl. Why can't Cowboy fans be just as optimistic? I don't really understand the whole philosophy. Why we got to be delusional? Aren't they just as delusional? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
I think it would come from the fact that every year is that, and then this is what you get to. So I guess it's one of those situations. It's like, okay, here we go again. All right, the Cowboys going to make it to the playoffs. We
have an owner. We have an owner that purposely tries to put together championship teams. I mean, and I think that's where the hate comes in at, is the fact that we always trying to put together a championship team. It's no rebuilding. It's no, you feel what I'm saying? It's no, we try to put together a team that's going to make the playoffs and make a run. That's the whole point. I mean, name me another team that does that consistently. Like, even in our dark days, the whole point was to put together teams to try to win. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't that what every sports fan want for their team? To be in the hunt, to be trying to win? So it's like, this is going to be our year. It's like, it's a chance to be our year. Every year we in the playoffs, just like everybody else. My point being is, it was all, the Eagles look like they're going to make it back to the Super Bowl. How? It's just regular season right now. It's just regular season. Like you tune it up, and if I had it my way, we would go in as the either second seed or the fifth seed. I want the fifth spot because the fifth spot that means we're gonna get a chance to get one of y'all early. If you know what I'm saying, if we make we advance to the next round, we'll get a chance to get one of y'all early, and it'll be perfect for me if we roll through both of y'all on the way. You know what I'm saying? If we can figure out a way to get the Eagles and the 49ers, that'll be great. That'll be great.
Never know. It's what might happen. So we greatly appreciate y'all rocking with us this morning. Of course, talking in, chopping it up, speaking on it. Of course, you got two games tonight. Like I said, Miami and Tennessee, and then of course Green Bay and the New York Giants. In my case, I'm going with Miami and Miami and Green Bay. Who you got tonight, Snook?
That's what I got tonight. I got Miami. It's not going to even be close. And I got Green Bay in a close one over the Giants.
So, of course, I'm tap in tomorrow and take a look and let's talk about that game. The NBA gets started back up again. As the coach was talking about earlier, we got the NCAA that's revving up and going. Last night, Bronny James made his debut for USC, although they did end up falling to Long Beach State. Bronny did come in and play 16 minutes as he's on restricted. I think he had 4 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and a block. So hopefully he just continues to get better and better and better over the course of the season. Although we went from a number 10 down to where we are now, hopefully they do get back into the fray of things. Of course, we still have the Pac-10, what is left of the Pac-10 NCAA season, as this will be the last season for them to get back into it to see how that's going to go. So the continuity needs to be built, and we can see how that goes. So greatly appreciate y'all tapping in today. Before we get out here, Cornelius, any last words, brother?
Man, y'all have a good one today. And tonight, pay attention to the progression of and the maturity of Jordan Love, how he's come together over this season. Watch how it happen tonight.
Y'all enjoy y'all night. Check out the games. We'll holler at you. Peace.